Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so. Joining us, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages, including Facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or Twitch, which is at Andrew J. Polk. A lot of ways to interact with the show, a lot of ways to get up to speed on all the things we're talking about here, of which we've got quite a lot of them actually going on here today. Amongst other things, that whole situation that was going on for, frankly, most of the west side, even from down near central, whatever was going on there, not a whole lot of detail yet, but we'll talk about what we do know so far and maybe get into a little bit about what the heck is even going on in that area, because this isn't the first time that we've had, even recently, last month, if I'm not mistaken, concerning trend. Hope it doesn't become a trend, but 2 points in time lets you draw a straight line at the very least. So we'll get into that a little bit. Plus a new potential trial date being set for a different incident that has definitely been something we talked about here in El Paso, those August 3rd attacks, and we'll get into that. Plus some of that discussion about what's going on with that whole Build Back Better effort, Build Back Better Act, the human infrastructure side of the whole bill that is now working on passing its way through Congress here. So those are some of the things that we're going to be getting into here today. And already have comments over on the Facebook page. John Browson, maybe a slightly interrupted comment there. We'll come and check back with you there. But otherwise, we do have, again, a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of ways to interact with the show on those social media pages. One of the better ways to do it, well, throughout the program there, because you can leave your comments. Edgar Ortiz also let us know that he's on board over there on the social media pages, and we'll get to those calls a little bit later in the hour, as we usually do. But so let's start out right off with what we do know about what the heck was going on around UTEP and that whole area. Started around mainly in the UTEP area a little bit earlier today, more specifically some tweets and such that came in a little bit earlier this morning. Around 8 o'clock is when a lot of stuff was really getting put out there, including UTEP saying, putting out official tweets and such, saying that there was a, quote, suicidal and believed to be on drugs suspect that was approaching campus there. So was doing some coverage of that this morning, giving on top of it with some of our statewide news affiliates on there, because it didn't just even stay on campus. It ended up expanding out a bit into, well, the rest of the community, with both EPISD going on high alert and some specific schools on lockout, which meant that, well, kids were still in there and doing what they were supposed to and be, continuing classes, though I'm sure maybe a bit of an edge on it. No one's going to be allowed in campus. And ended up being a little bit later in the morning that Canutillo independent school districts ended up doing the same kind of situation, announcing that they were on alert and taking some precautions as well. All of that cleared up by this point. So want to make that very clear out here. We don't usually chase, the breaking and the developing now kind of news. We rely on our news partners to do that kind of a thing. But this has been impacting one. And again, this wasn't even the most recent time within the last even just few weeks that this has happened. We had that shooting, that drug deal gone bad in previous weeks. Not much detail out about this one just yet. Just that, classes are canceled and no more on-campus activities scheduled for the rest of the day over there for UTEP and on campus there in general. Though I did see, both through some social stuff and other things, that there were some professors who had their students orbiting nearby, I think was the actual phrase being used, waiting to see if the lockdown would be lifted, to be saying that, well, if things are cleared up before 11:30, we're going to proceed with our midterm as planned. Otherwise, so be ready to be in class, which is, I get that a class is important. I really do. But at a certain point, you just got to take a step back and think, what actually are the priorities here? Because if it's a test, no matter what kind of, that's my instruction, without you telling me to go and drop that class at that point. Because if you are seriously still thinking about having a midterm or a test or whatever it is happening on the same day that campus has been locked down due to a potential suicidal and armed subject, I'm sorry. what exactly are your priorities in life? Not going to try to blow smoke on anyone by naming names, but seriously, just what the heck? Edgar Ortiz also saying that lots of threats over at Gadsden High School. That is true with some online things. So there's two ways to think about this. Either things are in an absolute numbers kind of way happening more, or it's just getting a lot more attention. This probably falls somewhere in between, to be perfectly honest, because, well, and this is as much as I don't want to talk about these things, it's had some significant disruptions to our area today. So that's why I'm bringing this up, even though we really don't usually talk about it, because to a certain extent, talking about these things and chasing all of it and giving it more notice than it is strictly due, I feel can somewhat embolden isn't the right word, but maybe tacitly encourage people taking a, well, similar step. Hey, you know what I'll do to get everyone's attention? That's my fear anyway, and why we usually take the stance that we do, but it's just too much to ignore here today. So that's why we really did have to bring it up here today. Some commentary here. Raul Francisco Maya saying too many nuts with guns. I'll agree with you on the first part there, but I'm more worried about the absolute amount of nuts overall. And again, there hasn't been a lot of detail coming out about this incident today. So I'll be surprised if it's the exact same one as what happened on the other end of the previous lockdown near campus. But still, seriously, we've talked about it a bit in the past, in fact, about how there's a lot of high tensions out there. Now, we're not in the same position we were back when we were kind of originally saying those kind of things that just kind of be nice to each other because you don't know what the heck anyone is doing out there. But it still very much applies, kind of in general, that there are some strange situations going on in a lot of people's lives right now. So until we know more information, I'm not going to comment on what this person or what this situation and what may have gone on there. But given the frequency of which we are seeing escalations to this level of notice, and us even have to talk about it on this program, just be careful out there, watch your six, and maybe be a little bit nicer to someone out there because you have no idea what they're going through. And I think we'd be better off as a whole group there. I know that may sound a little counterintuitive since the whole idea is, and then take no prisoners kind of attitude, but I don't think that's helpful in this general circumstance, situation, and issue that we as a society and a local region may be finding ourselves with here. So until we find out more information, we'll refrain from any more judgments about this current situation. But again, the overall frequency of them, at the very least that are escalating to this level, does seem to be going up, which is a concerning situation here. Yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and take that break right now, but coming back from the break, we'll get into more of those comments on the line, plus the subject that we were planning to talk about today, which is some aspects of that whole Build Back Better agenda, some commentary going on that already over here as we are joined over on the Facebook page by A.W. Hill, Louis Pinato, John Brazelton, Raul Amaya, Edgar Ortiz, and more. So more on this subject and some of those clips from those news conferences today on another aspect very much intertwined with other issues. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. It is that time of day when you might be wondering, all right, what's going on next? How do I get through the end of my day? And maybe still feeling some of that slump. I know that when I start getting into the show, I get excited because the opportunity to talk with you all is its own boost, but sometimes I just need that little bit of extra, particularly in the preparation aspects of it, because doing the groundwork, the grunt work is never the fun part of it, but you got to get to it so we can have a good show or whatever you're doing in your day. So what I reach for, something I turn to, I got my cup right inside next to me here because I finally went in bulk, is Clever Tea. Klevrtea, as in the stuff that you drink, locally brewed, locally produced, and designed. A delicious blend of their oolong wise, which is oolong tea, coconut, pineapple, hibiscus, eucalyptus, hawthorn berry, and cinnamon. You can get it in boxes or bottles. I like getting it in bottles, the pre-made stuff, because it comes sweetened with just the right amount of monk fruit that keeps you on track with whatever you want to do, really. I mean, it keeps you, whether you're looking at weight loss, looking at that focus, the benefits that come with it, including reducing anxiety and promoting better focus. I always need that. I don't know about you, but if you want to find it out for yourself, they are out in the community most weekends here, including the Upper Valley Arts and Farmers Market and others. Plus, you can order it online by visiting clevertea.com. That's KLEVRTEA.com. KTSM.com. Enter the code radio15 at checkout. That's radio15 to get a discount on your next order. And drink clever by visiting clevertea.com. That's KLEVRTEA.com.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
There's heavy traffic on the 10 westbound between Missouri Avenue and Franklin. Also, there's an accident that has the left shoulder closed on the 10 westbound at Schuster Avenue. And there's another collision that could cause delays on Zaragoza northbound at Americas Avenue. And the on-ramp is closed on the Loop 375 southbound at North Loop Drive. I'm Marie Jourdain with El Paso Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast Biscuit Sandwich. Just $1. Wendy's knows a better breakfast starts with a better biscuit. That's why you can get a hot and buttery Wendy's Breakfast Biscuit with bacon or sausage, fresh cracked egg, and cheese for just $1. Get your Wendy's Buck Biscuit Sandwich today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
I love the holidays, but I don't love being roommates with my siblings again. That's why I skip all the screaming matches and stay at Red Roof, so I can truly celebrate and relax in my own comfortable, clean, affordable room. Pets stay free at Red Roof, so I can bring Fido and decompress after a long day of small talk with the family without breaking the bank. And this season, you can get up to 20% off. Book your own space at redroof.com.
Hi, this is Rick from the Air Conditioning Company. How would you like to save $15,000 or more on your refrigerated air system? The Air Conditioning Company can help you do that. An improperly installed unit can cost you thousands and shorten the life of your equipment. Act now and get the best prices of the year on your AC and furnaces. Let our expert tech put money back in your pocket. Call 842-8615 today or log on to theairconditioningcompanyllc.com. The Air Conditioning Company. We love our company. License number 26622E.
Hi, Phil Swift here. When that next storm is barreling down, get prepared with the Flex Seal family of products. Floods can destroy your home. Push Flex base deep into cracks and holes to help prevent flooding. Seal doors and windows, patch leaky roofs and downspouts. Remember, when that storm is coming your way, keep your family safe and dry. Be prepared with the Flex Seal family of products. Available at flexsealproducts.com and fine retailers.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Always just minutes away from the latest news around town and around the world.
You need to know what's going on.
News Radio 690 KTSM. El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for joining us, however you may be doing so, and a lot of ways to interact with the show. Of course, we have the Facebook page, facebook.com/Talk El Paso. We do have these other social media pages, including the YouTube page, channel rather, Talk El Paso, at Talk El Paso on Twitter, and Twitch, which is Andrew J. Polk. So either of those names, either of those places, or all of those places, be able to find us, get those chiming in there. Already a lot of activity going on with a very busy news day around here today, and larger subjects as well with Raul Amaya, Epifanio Yanni, A.W. Hill, Maria Kallman, John Brazelton, and more chiming in over there. Edgar Ortiz a little bit earlier. So if you want to join that, including the whole skeptic squad, because even if you think people might necessarily agree, the skepticism runs strong in that whole conversation, particularly the Facebook page. So that's one of the ways you can comment throughout the show. We'll open up those phone lines a little bit later in the hour, as we do later this segment, really. One thing I mentioned kind of in our teaser post here coming into the show here is that we are continuing to monitor what the heck, if anything at all, is going on with the whole August 3rd attack. So on the same day as we have whatever was going on at UTEP, this is there's been a lot of questions about having that lately. So, according to our news partners over at KFOX 14, were finally some updates on a potential trial date, but I doubt this is going to make anyone particularly happy that they're looking to set that date for 2023 at this point. March of 2023 is the potential one that the prosecution and the district judge have put forth there. But it's going to be decided if that will actually work or not within the next 30 days after the defense makes their decision to move forward with it or ask for a different one. So looking at more than a year out at this point, year and a half or change, give or take here, for when that is actually going to be moving forward here, as is noted again by our news partners. The current district attorney, Yvonne Rosales, has said that her plans to pursue the death penalty in this case, and there was also further questions about what the federal prosecutors may be wanting to do that, of how it will work out. So all of that is complicated and moving forward, but we've been committed to keeping on top of that and staying on top of those details, well, ever since it happened. So we'll continue to do so as any further updates are coming on, but still doesn't make me happy in any case. Not that any part of the situation is ever going to make me happy, but thinking of it being so much further out than even now, even with all the setbacks that have come in timing and government procedures from all the pandemic, I'm just still on edge to think that it might be moved out of the community, which I am definitely opposed to. But, well, that'll make the decisions in this case. So we'll keep on top of it in any case. Moving on to something else that is happening right now, and the discussions and debates happening on right now, that whole other part of the infrastructure package as it is being discussed at the national level. More specifically, we had the original proposal that got split up into two proposals, now reduced down to only about $2.5 trillion. Billion here, billion there. Start talking real money, right? So we had the physical infrastructure bill signed into law a little bit earlier this week, and now we have the push for the Build Back Better Act, which is what the second half of it has now become officially known as. That includes the human infrastructure, as it's sometimes been called. So there was actually a news conference on Capitol Hill earlier today, not too long before our show here, talking with some of our both local and statewide elected officials, specifically a congressional representative, where we had Joaquin Castro from San Antonio and Veronica Escobar, representatives of the 20th and 16th congressional districts, respectively, talking about, well, some of those specific aspects that really haven't been focused on that much coming out of this bill.
Congress must deliver this much needed relief in the form of work permits and deportation protections. The time is now. It's important to note that the immigration provisions in the Build Back Better Act will accelerate our economic recovery.
That's, again, Representative Joaquin Castro speaking there, both Democrats representing major cities here in Texas. So that's kind of the starting point where they really launched into it in that news conference on the nearby the steps of Capitol Hill a little bit earlier today. So these are aspects that I haven't seen discussed much elsewhere. So you went on to say more about some of the specific provisions when it comes to immigration that they are focusing on baked into this bill.
In addition to providing protection from deportation for millions of undocumented immigrants, these provisions would also allow people access to long-term work permits to support their families and more fully participate in their communities, life-saving health care, travel abroad to see family that some have not seen for many years and have been separated from. It would also allow them to be eligible for a driver's license or identification card under the Real ID Act of 2005.
So again, that Joaquin Castro, their representative, congressional representative for San Antonio, he focused mostly on some of the technical aspects, while then speaking immediately after him, Representative Escobar of El Paso then spoke a little bit more about some of the narrative aspects of it.
I want to take us back a year to last Thanksgiving.
Speaking more generally about the situation we were in and how a lot of people with those kind of white-collar work remotely jobs were thankful to still be employed but weren't in it, but that a lot of immigrant workers, essential workers, were not able to do the same kind of thing, painting a picture there of that situation, and then getting into the, well, I need to let her speak for herself here.
For most, if not all, immigrants in our country, that was not the case. And in fact, those immigrants, as my colleague, Representative Castro, has mentioned, those essential workers, for them, there was no staying home. I want us to recall the gratitude that we felt for all of them.
And then continuing on to say about the specific aspects of the bill, so beyond just work permitting, she went further to talk about things such as a path to citizenship.
And they asked very little in return from us. In fact, the only thing they asked was for a fighting chance to have legal protections, to have a path to citizenship, to be Americans, the way those of us who did nothing to earn citizenship, to be Americans the way that the rest of us are, those of us who are fortunate enough to be Americans.
And continuing on talking about those aspects, again, all of this centering around the Build Back Better Act, that $1.5 trillion, the numbers seem to fluctuate daily. I don't never have a good hold on them here, but that the opposite of the physical infrastructure bill, the companion to it. Now, the human infrastructure, so a lot of the policies and a lot of, again, what they're focused on today here, the immigration aspects, and particularly as both Joaquin Castro was saying, that focusing on the economic impacts that would be anticipated from this aspect of it from their perspective.
So that we can fulfill our obligation and ensure that we give them the path to citizenship that they deserve. And in fact, that our economy would absolutely benefit from. I don't know about you, but I want more Americans. I don't know about you, but I think the more folks who can add to our tax base and fully participate in our communities, that makes us safer. That makes us better. That makes us greater.
And actually got a note not too long before we hit the start of the show here that Veronica Escobar, Congresswoman from El Paso, was going to be appearing on PBS's NewsHour about the same time here. Not sure what segment or anything here to discuss more on this. So definitely a focus happening on that here today. So that's one definite aspect of the conversation there. There have been many different aspects being discussed around here, but this a very interesting intersection, both of that major bill, which is stalled for the moment at the very least. Last reading I saw, waiting for that Congressional Budget Office rating on the impact of this bill, particularly by some of the moderate Democrats in the national legislature, asking to get a little bit more backup before they cast their deciding ballots. Though, also mentioned there, not within our clips, was the fact that this may be a reconciliation bill after all, which may allow it to bypass the current roadblocks and log jams that are happening within the whole representation process in D.C. as of right now, particularly when it comes to the Senate, the whole 51 and deciding vote situation that we've talked about a bit. So again, she kind of closed out before then other members that were present there, specifically members of the United Farm Workers, or UAW, I think it was more specifically, UFW. Talking about it. Their audio wasn't good, so I'll just let her close out with her more or less closing statement on this.
So while this is not everything that we have wanted, God, let me tell you, I will take it and run with it and not stop until we get everything that we need for these precious souls who've been with us every step of the way.
So that's some of the table being set there, and at this point, we'll do what we normally do and open up those phone lines for getting into the commentary on this and all the issues that are affecting us here in the borderland today. So a lot of commentary going over on the social media pages, but we will take those calls. So that number to call is 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Taking those throughout the end of the hour, so get on the line if you want to. Otherwise, stay tuned. Back after a moment here with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. It can be easy to get caught up in all of these issues and the thoughts that come with them. One thing you don't want to lose sight of is your health and also what to do about it if you find it, well, having some trouble, whether it be those day disruptors, those aches, breaks, sprains, bruises, bust-ups, or sniffles, the things that let you not continue about your day as planned. or anything else that may find you just stopped in your tracks and wondering what to do, wonder no longer, because have this back in your mind as a bit of peace of mind to be able to go to Upper Valley Urgent Care Center. They are a VA authorized urgent care provider, so even if you're in that kind of a medical assistance situation, they're ready to help you as well. But for anyone, no appointments needed, walk-in basis, 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So they got your nights covered. They got your weekends covered. They've got your holidays covered. With all of those coming up here, it can be very stressful getting ready for whatever you're doing to celebrate or get together, all of those things. Have this in mind so that you can continue on and enjoy those days by finding them at 121 East Red Road, which is right off of Red and I-10. And just have that peace of mind that you need to enjoy the holidays. Upper Valley Urgent Care Center.
El Paso's News Radio, 690 KTSM.
I'm Justin Creed, your CBS 4 News update. An update to a fatal rollover crash in Socorro that we told you about yesterday. Investigators say a teenager is now dead following that crash. It happened just before 8:30 in the morning near the Franklin Drainage Canal. Police say the 15-year-old boy was speeding near the canal in his Jeep when he lost control and rolled. The impact threw him from the vehicle and he died at the scene. Police say he was not wearing a seatbelt. A Las Cruces restaurant owner says a bookkeeping error is to blame after the U.S. Labor Department found that he shortchanged his employees by thousands of dollars in overtime pay. The owner of Chanchi's in Las Cruces withheld more than $45,000 from 22 employees. The Labor Department recovered the money and distributed it to those who were affected. CBS 4 spoke with the owner, Gabriel Montoya. He says the investigation took place back in March, and what happened wasn't intentional. Montoya says that he had hired a new bookkeeper and says the business is making sure that a mistake like this doesn't happen again. With your CBS 4 News update, I'm Justin Cree.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
Watch out for a disabled vehicle that has 2 lanes closed on the 10 eastbound at Geronimo. Also, there's an accident that could cause delays on Montwood Drive just east of Lee Trevino. You could try using Traywood and Yarborough Drive instead. And there's another collision on Zaragoza northbound at Americas Avenue. I'm Marae Jourdain with El Paso Traffic.
From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, this is Chief Meteorologist Sandra Diaz. We finally got a real taste of fall with a much cooler day today. Those winds were strong overnight, but they'll be the opposite tonight. Look for light winds, clear skies, and dry air to give way to one of our coldest nights tonight. There are freeze warnings in effect for many areas around town from midnight tonight to 8 a.m. Then we begin our gradual warm-up.
This report is sponsored by SmartMouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Date night. You check your texts, your hair, your smile. But wait, did you check your breath? Get SmartMouth, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with just 2 rinses a day. Find SmartMouth in the mouthwash aisle at Dollar General or get 20% off at smartmouth.com/radio.
Sometimes love can be deadly. The Crazy in Love podcast digs into real-life stories of relationships that took a gruesome turn. Each week, explore a new case about murder in the name of love.
She was obsessed. She was a stalker. She wouldn't take no for an answer.
Overkill is an outward manifestation, the highest level of anger a human being can actually achieve.
Listen to Crazy in Love on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo.
Thank you for your service. If you're a veteran and Medicare eligible, Advocate Health Advisors can help you get all the benefits you qualify for. They are highly trained in the fusion of Medicare and military benefits and represent a variety of plans in the greater El Paso and surrounding areas. You may qualify for additional benefits such as dental, vision, hearing, transportation, and more. They can help you with a no-cost, no-obligation review. To learn how you qualify, please contact Eric Lowenberg at 1-800-876-0214. That's 1-800-876-0214.
Radio advertising can connect your business with holiday shoppers wherever they go. Use iHeart Ad Builder to create an affordable custom radio ad right on your phone. Just click, listen, approve, then hear it on the radio. Create your customized ad today at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Wendy's knows a better breakfast starts with a better biscuit. That's why you can get a hot and buttery Wendy's breakfast biscuit with bacon or sausage, fresh cracked egg, and cheese for just $1. Get your Wendy's Buck Biscuit sandwich today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast Biscuit Sandwich. Just $1.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Another way to take control of your health and be an educated and active and advocating for yourself consumer of healthcare is by staying on top of the latest medical innovations by tuning in every Saturday at noon to the Medical Hackers with Dr. Sandeep Rao. Dr. Rao is a board-certified vascular interventionalist, has his own specialties, but also likes to stay abreast of the latest currents going on within medical technology, innovation, the system as a whole, and he breaks it all down for you every Saturday at noon there with insights on treatments for common medical problems, including focusing this week on some things involving bariatric surgery and weight loss, which if you're considering those or just want to stay more informed is a good reason to tune in. You can also submit your own questions ahead of future episodes by emailing rao@medicalhackers.com. That's his last name, RAO, @medicalhackers.com. And be sure to tune in again this Saturday at noon right here on News Radio 690 KTSM for the Medical Hackers with Dr. Sandeep Rao.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. A lot of issues we're dealing with today, including the confluence of all those issues happening with the lockdown, school threats, campuses not accessible. I mean, all of that, it non-scientifically, totally anecdotally feels like it's been happening a lot today. Plus, the what the words are out of our local elected officials in D.C. when it comes to the Build Back Better Act, the immigration aspects of it, a very interesting kind of convergence of a lot of issues we've been talking about here. We'll take response and more action on that by taking those comments and calls. The number to call in, full up at the moment here, but 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Also, do have to thank our sponsors here, Talk El Paso, brought to you in part by Monterey Asset Management. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the real estate market, of the stock market rather, consider investing in real estate. Monterey manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell property. Check out their new website, m1ep.com. That's m1ep.com to learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate. You can call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. That's 915-592-4549. Thank to our sponsors. Please support them as they support us in our mission to continue having live local talk radio back here in the borderland. Happy to do so and to continue a lot of this conversation here. So a lot of calls, a lot of comments going on is over on the various social pages, including on YouTube, Kathy Cordry, also on this Facebook pages, Michael Perez, Luis Benado, John Brazelton, Dottie Butler-Torres, Epifanio Yanni, and a whole lot more. So A.W. Hill, Maria Kallman, a lot of interesting commentary going on there. Maria saying a little bit earlier, particularly about that UTEP situation, that students who arrived not knowing the situation were barred from campus without an explanation and unable to find an alternate shelter. UTEP appeared to take the threat seriously. Schools are known to be gun-free zones by disturbed individuals. Again, just the amount of times this has come up recently makes it stand out maybe a little bit large. I mean, this is a significant event anyway. It took up a good part of my morning helping some of our regional and national affiliates stay on top of it. Unfortunately, nothing seems to have happened at this point. Hopefully, some arrest was made, but not a lot of information, at least as we were going into the show here today. But certainly causing a lot of conversation about these aspects. All we know is that it was an armed individual, according to law enforcement. But what that exactly meant and was actually under threat, besides threats being made, that is, still remains to be seen. So we'll keep on top of that one since we had to bring it up here. But getting some of those calls on the line here. That number to call, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Right now we do have Paul on the east side. Paul, thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning. I'm sorry. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Doing all right. It's been that kind of day. What's on your mind?
Well, you sound good. Hey, I was going to talk about the big bill going through, but I had to change my mind. And here was the deal. And I'll be calm about this. When Veronica said something about we didn't earn our citizenship, I think what she meant was we were already given our citizenship. But I would like her to do this, if I could, please. My dad still lives on, he's buried on Okinawa, okay? Now, I spent 2 tours in Vietnam. I was in the Marine Corps, spent 2 tours. I saw hell more than she probably ever saw hell, you know? And for her to come along and say, we didn't earn our citizenship, we didn't, you know, we didn't earn it as Americans. You know, I resent that. I really take it totally out of front to all the guys that did die. You know, what she needs to do if she really believes that, go out to the cemetery at Fort Bliss, the National Cemetery. Stand there and look over it. Stand there and see the dead that help our country. And she says, we didn't earn our citizenship. You know, how dare her? I've carried them into the helicopters. I've seen it. And she says that. I mean, this is sick. This is a sick thing when she says something like that. So, Veronica, if you're listening, go out there and stand right in the middle of the cemetery, and you'll see who are in the citizenship, who are on the right to have their citizenship. That's the ones. So don't dare say to us, hey, we didn't earn our citizenship. That's about it, sir.
Well, I thank you very much both for your service and for your comments there. I did think it was a particularly poor choice of words there. We'll see if anything more comes up. But thank you very much in any case for your point, your call, and your service.
You've done a good job. Thank you, sir.
I do appreciate it there. All right, getting some more calls on the line here. I mean, we played the words as was said. You can see the full thing for yourself by, I think C-SPAN has the full feed over there. We got it off of what they provided for us from the stream this morning. But, yeah, if you want to see it for yourself, more than welcome to there. All right, getting to a couple more calls before we hit that next break here. We do have Ben on the east side of the line with us. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Hello, Andrew. Wouldn't it be interesting if it turns out that Biden and his administration and the Democrats are once again lying to us, this time about the supply chain problem that we're having? There's two bills that came up, or two situations came up in California. One was called AB 5, which was the Uber bill and everything, making it where independent contractors for truck drivers were not going to be able to operate in the state unless they came under certain laws, certain regulations. And then two is that there was another law that was passed in California a while back that just came into fruition just recently, that made it was a climate bill, making it where that any truck that is over has been built since 2011 has to be brought up to standards for their climate bill. And that's money out of pocket for all these independent contractors that are driving trucks. And that's the reason why there was a lot of truckers that just decided, we're getting out of California. We're not going to operate in California anymore. And that's where we're having a problem with the backup. Wouldn't that be interesting?
That is an interesting point there. I mean, yeah, the sticking points in this whole system are due for some serious analysis. The whole plan that had been put forth, I heard about, to try to find the way out of it, that if containers were left in certain holding areas for more than a certain amount, they'd be fined $100 a day as a kind of pain point of getting out of it. It didn't make a lot of sense for me. I've seen some other analysis. Maybe we'll get into that in future shows here. Maybe tomorrow when we get more into that. But yeah.
Anybody that wants to look up that bill, it's called AB 5. AB 5.
Okay.
And that's the bill that made it was the Uber bill and everything. And they made it to where, you know, independent contractors have a problem when operating in California because they want unions to operate.
Well, that's an interesting point you bring up there. Thank you for that point and the call there. There's a lot of analysis to be done about this, and I'm not saying that I'm panicking, but I made sure to get my turkey already. That's what I will say about the whole supply chain issues here, and make sure to keep them frozen until you need them thawed there, and make sure they're already staying frozen on a kind of personal local note there. So thank you for that point and that call here. You know, we're going to need to take that break right now. Coming back from the break, we will get to more of these calls and comments on the line again. That number to call, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. There's a lot of issues, and a lot of them collide right in our backyard. So we'll get into that and a whole lot more after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. If you want to make sure, another way to stay on top of your health is by using thermography. It's a technique that is now back in town that allows you to use a heat map of the body that can actually do some early detection of problems such as breast cancer. We've talked about a decent amount recently before other methods can. So to get the access to it locally, the El Paso's own Therapeutics and Thermography, Inc., which is located at 935 Sunland Park Drive, they are extending their $50 off all breast thermogram benefit through the end of the year. So to claim that for yourself and find out how to use that other tool in your arsenal when it comes to keeping track and staying ahead and being preventative when it comes to your health. You can call 915-401-4053. That's 915-401-4053, or find them online at elpasothermography.com. That's El Paso, TheRmography.com.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Watch out for heavy traffic on the 10 westbound between Wrestler and Red Road. Also, there's an accident that could cause delays on Montwood Drive just east of Lee Trevino. You could try using Traywood and Yarborough Drive instead. And the roadway is reduced to one lane on Dyer Street, both northbound and southbound between Cassidy and Johnson Avenue. I'm Marae Jourdain with El Paso Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SmartMouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Opening back up. You check the news, you check with your friends, you check your mask. But wait, did you check your breath? Get SmartMouth, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with just 2 rinses a day. Find SmartMouth in the mouthwash aisle at Dollar General or get 20% off at smartmouth.com/radio.
You have homeowners insurance for a good reason, because without it, a fire, flood, or burglary could destroy you financially. But there's another major crime your homeowner's policy does not cover. It's called home title fraud. The FBI calls title fraud one of the fastest growing crimes, and it can ruin you financially, which is why you need Home Title Lock. Title fraud happens when a criminal forges your signature on documents stating you sold your home to him. Then he takes out loans against your home and leaves you with the payments. You'll spend a fortune in legal fees trying to prove you did not commit fraud. Home Title Lock puts a barrier around your home's title. The instant they detect anyone, from a cyber thief to a renter to a relative, trying to forge their way onto your home's title, they help shut it down. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim, and enter radio for 30 days of free protection. That's code radio at HomeTitleLock.com.
Now may be the perfect time to buy a home financed by Loan Depot. Loan Depot has over 300 loan products to help you make home ownership a reality. Interest rates are near historic lows. Rates will not stay low forever. So call 866-888-LOAN so one of our thousands of loan officers can help you find the right loan. Call 866-888-LOAN or visit loandepot.com. Loan Depot. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
There's no place like home for the holidays, except when you're stuck sleeping on the pull-out couch in the basement. This year, I'm resting my head at Red Roof in my own comfortable, affordable, and clean space. You know, you can save up to 20% this holiday season at Red Roof locations. Plus, pets stay free at Red Roof, so Fluffy can come along for the holiday fun. This holiday season, book your own space at redroof.com and save up to 20%.
Are you covered by Medicare and Medicaid? Well, El Paso Health Plus is the plan for you. As a local Medicare Advantage plan, we can offer our members more. Call us at 833-742-3125 or EPHMedicare.com. El Paso Health Plus.
Wendy's knows a better breakfast starts with a better biscuit. That's why you can get a hot and buttery Wendy's breakfast biscuit with bacon or sausage, fresh cracked egg, and cheese for just $1. Get your Wendy's Buck Biscuit sandwich today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Monterey Asset Management, superior multifamily property management services citywide.
News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
I sure hope you were paying attention to that forecast in our news show here today, because we got those freeze warnings inching ever closer to my door anyway, and for parts of the region. So now is the time that you need to be thinking seriously, if you haven't already, about calling the air conditioning company to see about making sure that your heater is up to par and won't be costing you more than it should this season. Because whatever the cold air that we can expect here, those fall temperatures, that couple of weeks of true winter, what we call winter anyway in our area, you don't want to be miserable and you don't want to be paying out the nose for it. So make sure that it's going to be efficient with all those fuel prices that we've been talking about, but also going to have those safety features that you really want to be having in your family home by calling the air conditioning company at 915-842-8615. That's 915-842-8615. You can act now and still get some of the best prices of the year and save as much as 25%, both from your pocketbook and what's coming out of it, and in peace of mind. So all of that, find them there at 915-842-8615, or log on to airconditioningcompanyllc.com. That's the airconditioningcompanyllc.com.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. A lot of stuff we're talking about here today, squeezing in what calls we can here in the last segment of the show. This is a busy week. Don't forget, this is my pitch for Friday, because we'll be taking those calls throughout the hour. So of all the many diverse and very important subjects we brought up this week, that's our pressure release valve, and we'll be taking those calls throughout the hour. That's Friday, tomorrow, 4 to 5 p.m. here. Ed Clark bringing up another local event that we're missing, the Winterfest Break the Ice Party downtown. I do think we have some of our other partner stations out there, including Power 102.1 and others, celebrating out there, so check out over with them if you want to. And that's going to be going on, I believe, through the start of next year going on. So, hey, we like talking about local events as much as the next guy, particularly with this season and all of them coming up here. But so getting to those calls on the line here right now, we do have Raul in the Northeast here. Raul, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Andrew. Well, I want to cheer on our Congresswoman Veronica Escobar and what she had to say on that recorded segment that you had. I'm not a real big fan of hers, primarily because she gets the money from the same plutocrats who use their funds to get what they want in our community, their corporate welfare. But nonetheless, I also saw her yesterday in the well of the Congress speaking about the censure of that deplorable Republican Congressman Gosar, who posted a video showing the murder of AOC and an attack on Biden. And none of the Republicans could get it up to speak out against him. It showed how dysfunctional the Congress is. It's very, very sad to see this duopoly that a lot of them, or most of them, are again in the pockets of the plutocrats of America. It's no wonder that America is in such a bad shape in many ways, even though the economy is doing well. But still, we have a lot of very deep-seated problems in this country.
I got to say something about that video, because I went and watched it for myself, wondering what the heck is going on there, that Paul, the Gosar video. And I'm not saying that it was a smart thing for him to do, and if this is showing off some of the stuff I watch here, it's actually a weird face replacement video of the intro segment, I believe, to the anime Attack on Titan. So, I mean, it's still not a smart thing for a person to have put together, showing any face of any other elected official being attacked. That's a great way, you being elected official yourself or not, to be, at the very least, getting a knock on your door from probably some federal investigators. But at the same time, it's the faces placed over these giant figures that are multi-story figures that are then grabbing and eating people. So I think there was trying to be a metaphor there. Maybe I'm giving a little bit too much benefit of the doubt, but at the very least, it was a dumb thing to do. But it's also kind of ridiculous on its face. I have to put that in there, frankly, there. But I mean, it was dumb. There's no other way to put it, but also a little bit more ridiculous maybe than it seems on its face there. All right, to get into a couple more calls here before we end the show here. We do have Andrew on the west side. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Yes, your first caller made a comment about Veronica Escobar's statement. What was it, earning our citizenship?
Something along those lines, yeah. That, or I don't want to misquote here, but that we haven't done much or anything to earn our citizenship, yes.
Well, that is rather, those statements, they are rather hurtful. And, I can agree with that first caller. My dad and four other uncles served in World War II. Two of my uncles were resident aliens, and one of them was shot down over Europe and was a prisoner of war. So people shouldn't be making those type of remarks, because there are people who have done more to serve this country and fight for individuals to make those type of statements. So it is rather insulting. Now, as for the supply chain problem, consider this: California has the highest price price on diesel fuel, $5 a gallon. It is expensive to operate a rig out there in California with all the regulations and taxes that you have. So yeah, $5 a gallon. Do the math. Those rigs hold between $120 and $300. 300 gallons of diesel fuel. So it's getting you can't afford to operate those rigs pretty much in California. But anyway, have a good evening.
Oh, yeah, you too as well. Thanks for the points in the call there. I mean, I don't live in California for like a whole number of reasons. There's a decent amount of, let's just say, my personal property I would not be able to take there per their laws, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But, I mean, even though we don't live there, we're affected by supply chain issues out here, so it's a mess. All right, we think we have time for one more quick one here this hour. We do have Tony on the west side. Tony, we got about 1 minute.
If anybody can get it done, it's me. Lift it up, babies. Okay, please go. If you want to know the beginning and the end of the end game for the COVID, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. One more time, blazetv.com/Glenn. And then the password is Fauci lied. And what you're going to find out is how they manufactured that virus from the beginning all the way to how they plan to use it and keep reusing it with more and more booster shots to get us conditioned to obey and submit. Please. The other comment I'll make real quick is, look, I put on pound 250 the breakdown of this structure. It's not an infrastructure. It's a payback for people who vote Democrat, the unions and stuff like that. If you research where that money's going to, it's rebuilding the cities that were burnt by Antifa and stuff like that. The Democrats have been doing this for 50 years. They're experts. Trump couldn't figure it out. He was a businessman. He did the best he can, but nobody can outwit the Democrat leadership at evil and deception and thievery. And I hope God judges them with a little bit of mercy there, because biblically they're in big trouble. Thank you.
All right, sure thing. Thanks for the point in the call there. We'll have to leave it there for today because we are out of time here for this program. Thank to everyone who did call in, comment, participate in the show. We'll do it again tomorrow with calls and comments throughout the hour, 4 to 5 p.m. right here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Been your host, Andrew J. Polk. Stay safe out there. Look twice for motorcycles when out on the road. And have a great evening, y'all. Talk to you all tomorrow. Back with another Medicare Moment with Eric with Advocate Health Advisors. I've heard of a benefit included in some Medicare Advantage plans called a Part B Give Back. What is that?
Well, a Part B Give Back, or better described as a premium reduction, is a reduction in the Medicare Part B premium for members participating in specific plans. For example, if your premium is $148 and you have a $50 Part B Give Back, your Medicare Part B premium deduction would drop to only $98. It instantly puts money back in the veteran's pocket simply for enrolling in one of these plans.
For more info on this and much more, you can call Eric, your local advisor, wherever you're hearing this broadcast at 1-800-876-0214. That's 1-800-876-0214.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Watch out for heavy traffic on the 10 westbound between Wrestler and Red Road. Also, there's an accident that could cause delays on Montwood Drive just east of Lee Trevino. You could try using Traywood and Yarborough Drive instead. And the roadway is reduced to one lane on Dyer Street, both northbound and southbound between Cassidy and Johnson Avenue. I'm Murray Jourdain with El Paso Traffic.
KTSM AM El Paso is News Radio 690, an iHeart radio station.
Let's talk about America, not taxes or tweets or the issues that divide us, but